about profiling. What is it? Profiling is a direction in psychology that studies the possibility behavior of a person on his verbal and non-verbal grounds without using a lie detector. It's helped to understand how many people are honest with us, what this person hides, what this person really thinks about us, and give answer to us. Any kind of consultation suggests dialogue. It's correct to consider on feedback whether it's possible to go features. Profiling interact widely at airports, crowd place in order to identify potentially dangerous people and fans of civilians. Face reading and profile are links of the same chain. Without knowing face reading, profiling can be difficult to understand. Face reading has explanations for how to understand that a person is confident or unsure. It's simple by the position of his head, how much a person demonstrates the jaw, how depressed he is. Therefore, I use in the complex both knowledge, face reading and profiling, complementary to each other. Now I will show the one video, for example.
Attorney's office scheduled the transfer hearing. He had 2 days. I told the mayor's office we need to examine James's antecedent behavior, so we're set to meet with his parents and his church group. How you doing today, sir?
I'm great.
Hey, could you sit on the line, please?
Are you serious?
Yeah. Any reason you might be anxious this morning, sir?
I only know I missed my flight.
I need you to open the briefcase for me.
You know what? I'm going to check it. It's the liquid, right?
Stop. It's time to be back up faculty. Open your briefcase. You're gonna need to come with us. Actually, you need to come with us. When you leave that line, I can tell you were jacked up about something.
That's because I flashed your partial fear expression.
Whatever. But why were you trying to play me? 6 years ago, Dr. Lightman left the deception detection program he founded for the Defense Department. Together, we started a private firm that works with police, corporations, and almost every federal agency. We'd like you to come work for us, Ms. Torres. Why? You've made 7 times more arrests than the average TSA agent, and you scored 97% on the TSA deception diagnostic, which Dr. Lightman created.
Have you ever had any specialized deception training?
I've dated a lot of men. You're one of the naturals. There's an infinitesimal percentage of the population, less than 0.001, that tests nearly perfect without any advanced training. We've already cleared your leaving with the TSA field director. Our office will call you later. Oh, don't forget your briefcase.
That's your signing bonus.
Albert Mehrvian, professor of psychology at the University of California at Los Angeles, determined that human communication is no more than 55% from visual aspect, appearance, body language, and 38% from vocal, tone, volume, voice rhythm, and 7% from verbal. You represent that this percent of information is verbal-less using gestures, non-verbal. That's what we say is words, only 7% of informations, but 93% are gesture, emotions, intonations, difference, manipulations. This is how our body moves, what voice we speak to, what expression we speak to. That's our vegetative system. If we have information's profiling, the source of information immediately increases. When making decisions, we can rely on a more accurate source of information. If you hide the non-verbal behavior of a person and convey to a person only the necessary words and add emotional expressions to them, then it's very easy to deceive a person. Fraudsters use different manipulative methods and restriction on us in the source of information, so that we became victims. Pure manipulations with non-verbal behavior. If a person is deprived of non-verbal body signals, you can simply read the speech on a piece of paper and sell their own shares. Only on the phone, with the help of a fake call, you can deceive a person. For example, I showed one movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, and you will enjoy this movie. And if someone not watched this movie, please you can watch and find something interesting about our business in our life, and how fraudsters earn millions of dollars depriving people of this source of information, 93%. When there is a limitation to us in the sources of information, they thinly made a certain scenario according to which the sale took place and sold hangings and shares unnecessary to a person. How they use telephone conversation to sell minimal stock revenues while they valuably ridiculed the client. They simply read the necessary speeches on paper and added to the necessary intonation to the speech. I won't show it again video where you can see, but I will be a little bit faster because sometimes YouTube not give allowed to copy from YouTube's original movie and cutting that. Sometimes it will be explained on the screen, sometimes maybe it will be everything fine, it will be inside in the movie.
DiCaprio played character, the fraudster, and he profited from selling people what they didn't need at all. They simply made a certain scenario according to which the sale took place and sold hangings and shares unnecessary to a person. How they used telephone conversation to sell minimal stocks revenues while they valuably ridiculed the client. They simply read the necessary speeches on paper and added the necessary intonation to the speech. You have a beautiful picture of a stranger talking to you on the phone and offering something. It turns out that the interlocutor.
I think you like it, the movie. If you didn't watch, you can watch. And this is a very indicative film, not only from the loss of money. You can lose years of your life when you communicate with a person, marry him, and then it turns out to be a completely different person. There are a lot of fraudsters now, and our task is to protect ourselves from these unpleasant people. In order to make the right decisions, we need to really not only on words, but on how a person behaves, what gestures he uses, how his body reacts. All this allows us to study profiling. When a person relies on 7% of his information and makes a decision 100% responsibly. I make special videos that would include our right hemisphere. This is figurative thinking, and that information would be better received. Just remember the movie Matrix. When Neo studied on the video some character, he was inserted with a chip, and when he woke up with the knowledge of this is us. Profiling is used not only by fraudsters people, but also by normal, adequate people for certain types of professions. Profiling interact widely at airports, as I told you, crowd plays in order to identify potential dangerous people. And if we know that in airports you specially train people who look at all passengers and identify the most suspicious from them. show you video before, short. In stadiums and in all places of crowding, there's also specially training people who notice people who behave different. They are checked more thoroughly. Profiling is used during interrogations. Let's see again small.
Watch his reaction to my words. When I begin to list him to name of the church, he smiled because there were wrong places. The suspect gets the joy and we are not looking where we need to. Now I'm talking to him about another plan and he's responding by shaking his shoulder. The body contradicts the words. I absolutely do not believe what I'm saying. He's lying. When you accuse the suspect, he wonders how to determine whether he's real or pretending. This real surprise when it appears on your face lasts less than a second, but if the suspect is surprised for longer than a second, he pretends he's lying. Now let's see. I tell him exactly the purpose and see his reaction. Disgust. Disgust. This is expression applied to all people, whatever you are terrorist or housewife. Disgust. Disgust. Shame. 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 Discontent. Emotion manifest is the same way, not who are you, the truth is written on your face.
Consider how often you allow yourself such luxury as a deception. We also consider silence a lie, not quite the truth, only some part of it. Average statistics show that 1 month people deceived and tricked 12,960 times. The lie is quite harmless, but it's a very serious trap. Profiling is used in relationship to prevent some unpleasant moments in relationship and also to build good relationship with this person, in group where you study, where you go to work, and anywhere where you can do communications. And of course, this is kind of consultation, suggest dialogues, and it's correct to consider on feedback whether it's possible to go features in relation to this person. Sellers in sales profiling is very used. You need to give the correct information when the stakes are high. Show your professionalism to offer something to a person that he is interested in. There are only 7 emotions. There is only 7 emotions that have an universal form of expression: sadness, anger, contempt, disgust, surprise, fear, happiness. If someone watched the series Lie to Me, where Dr. Lightman is a profiler, with the help of the profiling knowledge, reveals crime. He reads the non-verbal behavior of the suspects and determines how much they tell the truth or not the truth. Finally, we have come to the subject of emotion, with which I want to talk to you and show today the first emotion of which we will consider disgust. Basic emotions, according to Paul Ekman. Here we have dog muscles over our lip. These emotions is very important. If you see these emotions in relations to yourself, keep in mind that your partner rejects you, although he does not speak words. Well, if it's your husband or wife, then you will not envy your life together. Maybe the conflict hasn't reached an informed level, but know that your partner doesn't like something about you. If a person tells you about someone and you saw this emotion on his face, then know something he does not like. And what exactly I will tell you today in few examples. Disgust. That's one of the oldest basic emotions. It's very similar to the emotions of contempt. I will look you to difference between contempt and this is emotions of disgust. What's the difference? But disgust came from our ancestors. When our ancestors encountered dangers, they turned on reflex. When an animal sees dangers, it shows fangs. It means, don't come near to me, I can't bite you. That disgust went from there. A smile also came from there, but they separate. Even if someone have animals, you paid attention when the dog is angry, it begins to show fangs. Here, in the reaction to show fangs, it's late with us as well. Despite the fact that we are not dogs, but our ancestor laid down this function. Civilization developed and later man was hunted by dangers no longer from the beast in the way. And the dangers came from other places like misfortune in form of a disease as a plague, typhoid, which claimed many lives, and a person began to react like that to any types of dangers, including the people reacted to this who posted this disease. Actually today's day is the same. If somewhere wearing to shop and not wear a mask, another people will see with disgust in their face. It's like a sense of breeziness. Even a rating was complied to with causes breezings in people. Most people are disgusted when they see facalia. Our ancestors received infections with facalia. These were disease carriers. Therefore, toilets began to be built away from the house. It was the primary signs of revulsions, but we also brought up secondary signs in ourselves. We associate this with cockroach, snakes, spiders, even people who disgust us, as if dangerous from their words. According to we are disgusted by this, even from the actions of something that we do not want to do on subconscious level. Therefore, the body reacts with the emotion of disgust. Any form that repel us cause as such as reaction in the form of disgust. We look for example, this is micro expressions, and no matter how much a person tells how well he is, if this reflects a rise, then a person lies. We see this disgust in a person what he is talking about. When a person talks about something, his subconscious illustrate how he relates to these situations, and the expression on his face already automatically tells. If a person often shows such microgroups, this is subconscious fear. A person is afraid that he will pick up something bad with communication. Such a person is looking everywhere for some dangers. That's I will give you advice. By example, we can see this emotion on the example of the case of Sushant Singh when Sandeep Singh was speaking with Arnav Goswami. Here there is a bouquet of lies at all, but I will not be distracted, only I will show the emotion of disgust. See how he reacted to the word media. He has disgust from memories when asked questions. A person is not determined to answer such questions. It's dangerous for him. despite the fact that he's on TV and demonstrates himself throughout the country. And that's why he thinks it's dangerous to say something. Memories of a specific person cause him negative emotions. And when he said the word media, look at his face. A person is clearly disgusted at the moment with these words. Everyone reacts in their own way, but the most important sign by which we can recognize these reactions and that a person reacts so negatively is raising the jaw muscles. A lot of blind people use these facial expressions. For us, it's also a danger when a person lies, unpleasant, uses manipulations, and when we see this unpleasant to us. And we kind of think of ourselves off from this person and demonstrate the emotion of disgust. Even with regards to some events when we describe in the past, we also react with this emotion.
And we were shocked. We were still thinking it's not true. And we straight went to his house, and once we went there, it was media outside the gate.
One example more I want to show you with Ritik Roshan. I told that emotion of contempt. It's very confusion with disgust. They look like the same, but they have a little bit difference, you can see. It's very close and new than the emotion disgust. In life, we can observe this when a person talks about something and his disgust happens about what someone tells him about him. I'm confident that the emotion of disgust will help you anticipate and explain real facts in life and draw ahead of time conclusions. I want this information to be used by you to improve your environment. Thank you.
I want to address the question that's on the minds of people today.
Yeah.
No
I
smoke
remember that
without
night.
fire, and understand, I want you to respond to the narrative of
I want to address the question that's on the minds of people today. No smoke without fire, and understand.
By 2014, it's sounding totally messed up. You've received threats, you're being blackmailed, you're being told that you're going to be scarred for life. You're not responding. My only question to you repeatedly is, what doesn't add up is that either you're very empathetic, either you're very understanding, but you actually don't even consider her to be a villain. You are fighting in your own mind an imaginary imposter or an imposter rather than Kangana.
Yeah, well, I've learned my mistakes.
2015, the only question to you repeatedly is, what doesn't add up is that either you're very empathetic, either you're very understanding, but you actually don't even consider her to be a villain. You are fighting in your own mind an imaginary imposter or an imposter rather than Kangana.
Yeah, well, I've learned my mistakes.
2015,